Become a full-time real estate investor, you've got to use your job to quit your job. And I know that sounds kind of paradoxical here, but hear me out. We've got this culture amongst real estate investors where everyone wants to quit, right? I don't know if you guys are just lazy or you imagine that all the income that real estate generates gets you into this like passive lifestyle, but we all want to quit and do something else, whether it's work or nothing at all. And everyone in real estate, when they're new, and a lot of people, even after they get some experience, seem to think that rental income is the key to quitting their job. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. And there's just a ton of content out there that like gets you to believe this because maybe they want you to buy like their program or whatever it is. But it's not enough money and it's not fast enough. So if you really want to get out of what you're doing, your full-time job, and get into investing in real estate full-time, it's not going to be the rental properties themselves that get you there. It's going to be a couple things that you learn while you're on the job in the corporate world. And I know that sounds like almost like too simple, right? Like it makes too much sense, but for some reason people don't think of it this way. They go, I'm just going to pour money into rentals and I'm going to find some freaking hack way to suddenly live off like $3,000 a month that really ends up being $300 a month after expenses, right? So you got to use the job to quit the job, but you got to build something using the information you learn at the job. And isn't it kind of ironic that, and almost like too obvious, that being at a corporation and getting paid a W-2 will teach you the things you need to learn to build something like a corporation that generates more income so that you can stop working the W-2, right? It's too crazy to be true. Look, guys, I'm going to teach you the things I learned back when I was working as a W-2 employee that helped me build this thing and get the hell out of my W-2 life and into something that was bigger and better for me, right? I wanted to be unchained. So I've got 6 things today that really helped me wrap my head around this business and get out pretty quickly. I quit my job 8 months after I sent out my first direct mailer, by the way, and 1 year after I bought my first out-of-state rental property, so it happened pretty fast, and I doubled my income before I quit as well. So these tips are gold and they're still key pillars to our investment firm today and the growth that it took on along the way. Before we jump in though and talk about these tips, really quick, we got a giveaway, right? So I'm gonna give you some free stuff like we do every Friday. The coupon code this week is no chill. NOCHILL, one word, all lowercase. It's no chill because we're not interested in quitting your job to chill. We're interested in quitting your job and building something bigger, like I said in this morning's story. So no chill is the code. You're going to enter it to get a free deal calculator, financing starter kit, contract pack, any of those $40 tools in the Ace Self-Fi store that you see in my bio. And the code will be active after this live is over. Now I'll announce when I activate it. It's going to be announced in a story. So after I repost this live, I'll post up a story saying coupon code is now active, so write it down now. It's no chill, all lowercase. There's gonna be 25 freebies today like I do every Monday and every Friday. They go fast, so when you get to that store, at the checkout page, there's a coupon code slot. If it's not there, you're either too early or you're too late. All 25 have been redeemed. If you click pay now and you didn't get that code accepted, you're giving me your money. Thank you so much. I'll put it towards some sort of great cause, like buying myself a beer tonight or like 8 beers or whatever it is that I can get for $40. So it's no chill. The course is not included in this giveaway. It never is. It's a $500 course. I don't have a story for you today, but I was talking to my content strategist this week. We're really getting like a true advertising strategy in place and building some like ads automation that we're going to implement pretty soon so I can get this digital product business growing like it should be. And he looked at me and he's like, yeah, Elliot, you have this giant investor list, like a 40,000 person list of emails and phone numbers, and you're not marketing your course to them at all. So we need to build something automated there that captures all the people that aren't buying your properties, which is most of them. I sell properties to 100 people a year, maybe a little bit less because we have a lot of repeat buyers. So if you have all these people that have money that want to buy properties that can't buy your property, it's a complete no-brainer for them to spend $500 on your program that teaches them how your business goes about buying property out of state and manages property out of state. I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been fucking saying this whole time, dude. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys. So even the content strategist was like, hey, these guys need to be buying your course. So don't let me pitch you, let him pitch you through me as his vessel here. Anyways, let's dive right into it, guys. I learned to quit my job at work, and it took me 8 months to quit my job, but there was about 5 years of like post-college work trailing that, where I picked up certain skills along the way that allowed me to build something that would be successful and scalable relatively quickly and without failure, right? Or with very limited failure, like micro failures, right? But no critical failure along the way. I'm gonna teach you these things that I learned, or the most important things I learned, because I learned a million things. I'm gonna grab my coffee real quick. I learned a million freaking things, but these 6 that I've got written down, I think are the most important lessons. I have a couple disclaimers for you before I start reading them off though. The first one is, this isn't gonna be passive. I'm not teaching you how to not work at all and then stop having to work completely and then continue to not work at all. This is a hustle. This is for the people that wanna build something. And look, for the people that do wanna be passive, I need you to understand, I don't know anybody that's generating a high amount of passive income that didn't build something substantial, that took a lot of concerted efforts to get to that point before they laid back and relaxed. Right now, I could turn it all off and completely retire, and the business would still run itself. I'd put a manager in my place. The revenue would probably drop a little bit, and I can just relax. And even if the business broke even, the rental income would be enough. But it took years of substantial effort and building something that worked too, not just like mindless grind, right? But like intelligent grind and skill development to get to this point. Now, once I get to this point, I'm like, it'll be a waste for me to turn it off now, right? But that choice is yours when you get to that point. But you have to climb that hill to get to that point. This is not live on how it can be easy for you to do nothing and then not have to do anything ever again. Disclaimer number 2, this information in the corporate world is not given to you. I had buddies of mine that I even got jobs for, got in the same position as me, and they did not go out there and hunt for the opportunity to learn these important lessons. So they didn't learn these important lessons. And I did, and I got to apply them, and I got to lap these people, right? So I need you to understand, if you're gonna go out there and wanna learn how to extract important information from your workplace and be able to apply it towards something you can build, you need to go and get it. It's not going to be given to you by anyone. You need to find people and organizations that can offer this stuff to you. You need to explore and discover what information will be valuable to you, right? So I'm going to give you some guidelines on what to look for, the things that I learned, but you're not just going to have this handed to you by your manager that easily. So you have to go out there and get it. Be committed to finding the opportunity to dive deeper into this stuff. That's it. That's enough disclaimers. I'm going to hit you with all 6 real quick so we can have a good Q&A session. The first thing I learned in the work world that I say is the most important thing that we could apply to this business today, since we are running effectively a sales business with the flavor of real estate, is the concept of generating pull. I've mentioned this in live sessions before in the Q&A sections of them when you guys have asked me questions. Generating pull means you're not pushing a product to a consumer, you're letting the consumer pull that product through your supply chain, right? My supply chain is going out there and finding off-market properties and selling them to customers, except I'm not selling them to customers. My customers pre-order, and I have a pre-order list that's too long for me to fulfill, and my pre-order customers have to compete against each other to be most favorable in the terms that they offer me. And the result is we have like a vacuum that's sucking these properties through our sales funnel and into the customer's hand and pushing money into our hands because the consumers are banging down our doors. Now you have to design an environment where you generate pull. And I'll give you some other examples of generating pull. Think drop shipping, right? Where it's sold before it's made, held in inventory. Think Tesla. You order it, then it comes to you a couple months later. It's not sitting on a dealership lot. Think, Domino's Pizza, right? What's their phrase? Not that I eat too much Domino's unless I'm drunk. We don't make it until you order it, right? So why the fuck would they make it until you order it? You see how that's a more efficient business model? So I don't want to get you guys thinking Domino's, but you want to create an environment, create a business where whoever it is that's putting money in your pocket, you have many of them, and it's constantly filling at a rate faster than you can deplete. You're generating demand as a top priority of your business. Once the demand is there, then worry about supply. Don't think about your supply until you have a massive oversupply of demand and infrastructure to maintain that and keep that oversupply at the rate that it is. Number 2, Anti-selling. So I took a sales job with a software company at some point before I quit all of this, because I wanted to make more money and be able to focus on this on the side. So it made more sense for me. I did it for like a year and a half, and I learned a ton at that sales gig. It was like a 150 employee tech company. I was the 70th employee, and a year and a half after being there, it grew to 150. They exited like a month after I quit. So obviously the owner didn't give a shit that I quit, because I think he put like $100 million valuation, in his back pocket when he was on his way out. And he was like 33 also. So that was pretty cool for him. But I learned the concept of anti-selling, number 2, from my colleagues, right? What do I mean by anti-selling? I was working with a bunch of savvy, young, but kind of jaded and like grumpy sales guys, because they've been just grinding. Sales guys get jaded pretty quickly, right? Because you just deal with fucking so much bullshit all the time, and you're just getting rejected and trashed all day. And if you're good and you have the emotional constitution and fortitude to be able to stick with it, what ends up happening is you become really, really good at identifying the right customer. So you figure out who your ideal customer profile is, right? And then you just don't give a shit. You don't even try to sell them anymore. You just get on the phone and you just tell these guys what it is. So these guys would get mad at me if I'd hop on a lead and do a demo with someone and I tried to like push the wrong person up the hill. You go, dude, who fucking cares? I'm not even gonna take a call if someone doesn't seem like they really wanna buy. I'm not gonna sell this thing. I'm just gonna hop on there, show them what it is, back the hell off, and then walk away. And I'll call them in like a week or 2 if they don't call me back after that, right? So anti-selling is something you guys probably see me do here a lot, where I'm telling you about our products and our services, but I don't give a shit if you buy it. The product or service stands on its own, and all I gotta do is just make sure it gets in front of your face, and I'll let you make the decision after that, because the last thing that you want to do is an environment where you need to go and make money and you need to convert to make money. The last thing you want to do is try to convince someone and give them the feeling that you need them to make that decision, because then they're going to feel like your drivers are influenced purely by your desperation. Right? So you have to be emotionally detached from it. You have to anti-sell. How's that relevant to real estate? Let's see. I sell 160 properties a year to buy 40, and that fully funds the 40 and some, like, and our business overhead, right? And the 40 are generally bought like cash. I'd buy a whole lot more than 40 if there was more financing involved. I think this year we'll buy more than 40. And that's 40 properties, not 40 units, right? That's like 40 parcels. So every business has a sale. And if you really want to get out of what it is you're doing to get into something else, we were wholesaling properties, just kind of like white glove wholesaling, and we still are. It's just much more refined. But we were wholesaling properties for those 8 months that it took for me to send my first mailer and then eventually quit and double my income, right? So definitely need to sell in the very beginning. I'd say it's like the bottom level of like, your quit my job or your quit your job pyramid. To be able to get you out, you need income coming in the door. So anti-selling is the best way to sell, by the way. Number 3, this is a lesson that I used a little bit later in my business, once I started hiring. It wasn't much later, it was like a year after I quit, right? Maybe a little bit less than that. A better process means better people. What do I mean by that? Well, we know from a lot of you guys, right, even my following, but a lot of real estate investors, they're mom and pop in their operations and their DIY in nature when it comes to like how they run their properties. And that will probably translate to how you guys run your businesses as well. And that's not a good thing. You don't want to be DIY. You want to be able to delegate. And a lot of the reason people are afraid to delegate to people is because, to other people, to employees, it's because they're afraid that employees will not do the work at the level that they will. They won't be as successful as them. They'll be hard to manage. They can't afford the good employees. And that couldn't be further from the truth. What I've learned, so I learned this back in biotech, you build a really good process, and that process is easy to execute successfully, right? So our sales process here, a lot of effort was invested into refining it and making it as like almost as like, let's make this sales process as mindless as possible, and then let's get someone who's not mindless to do it. Right? And I think I heard like Charlie Munger say that one time in a video, like maybe a couple months ago. So it's not like I got the idea from him per se, but it's common sense, right? In the world of business. He said, I want like a completely brainless, super simple business. Then I want to buy a business like that with a really, really smart person running it. So lower like the execution threshold of the work that you create and over-invest in your process up front, especially when you're small, because then you can be very efficient and you can hire well. and not have to hire someone of extremely high skill who's just carrying the weight of something very difficult on their shoulders, right? Design it right, and then it'll be easy to hand off to somebody else. And number 4 is an extension of number 3. A better product equals better people, right? So if you give someone something very easy to sell, or like my investor relations rep here, right? She gets vetted customers in her pipeline. Really good customers. How do we get these good customers? By giving them an honest product that's very competitive with a very strong level of service attached to it and a lot of information attached to it. This customer just wants to buy as a result. So my account manager on the investor relations side, she's successful all the time, consistently successful, because she's not pushing a garbage product with a bad process attached to it to our consumers, right? So a better process, number 3, means better people, or more success delegating. A better product means more success delegating. That's number 4. Number 5, I literally have like time with a bunch of like greater than signs in front of it. I can't flip it around correctly. I don't know if you guys can see it. Time is the most important thing, and I'll put that into perspective for you a little bit more. So the owner of the software company I worked for when I was doing that sales gig, he sat me down one time right after I promoted pretty quickly to a closing role, obviously. And he sat me down and he said, hey, the number 1 resource for a salesperson to preserve, the most valuable thing to you as a salesperson, is your time and your ability to use it as efficiently as possible. And what he was telling me to do was to stop trying to fit square pegs into round holes and to say no as often as possible. And at that point, that's when I started to understand the concept of building a funnel. And it translates over to your real estate business and my real estate business. When you think of all of these distractions and opportunities and different investment strategies that a lot of mom and pop investors try to chase. The thing I hate about the world of real estate investors and why I never go to mastermind groups or meetups or any of that bullshit, I reject these people completely, is because they try to do a little bit of everything and they get so fucking crafty doing so many different strategies. And what ends up happening is they don't end up finding and refining that button that makes them the most money that they can execute on the most successfully. And they end up spreading their time across a bunch of things that they cannot easily do. So you really want to identify within like this sea of different opportunities, whether it's a bunch of different seller leads and different properties you have in your pipeline that you're trying to pursue for a good off-market deal, or a bunch of different buyers, or a bunch of different execution strategies for your properties that you're considering. You want to identify the ones that make you the most money the fastest with the least amount of effort, and you want to then reinvest all of your excess time into flooding your funnel with more of that kind of opportunity, which means you got to get really good at saying no. And that's one thing I take a lot of pride in, and I got it from my grumpy old dad, where he just said no to me all my fucking life. Like, he was never too nice to me, right? He just said no, 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 no. And then he told me to say no to a bunch of people as well. He's like, hey, like, preserve your value. Don't give in to things that are not worth your time and your effort, right? So I learned that in the sales world. It really, really carried over. We turned down a lot of business. And my business partner in early years was often kind of criticizing me for that. Hey, we're turning down these opportunities. I'm like, don't worry about it. The next opportunity we get that's really good will be because of this one that we left on the table. Number 6. So when I was working at that software company, in that sales org, remember I told you it grew 68th employee, 69th employee, all the way up to like 150 within a year and a half. Well, the owner presided over the sales department through all of that. Not the engineering department. There was like 20 or 30 software engineers. He handed that off earlier. Not account management. He handed that off earlier. Not support. He handed that off way earlier. He stuck with sales all the way through, damn near to the point of exit, and then brought on a sales manager right before exiting. Why? Can you tell me what lesson number 6 is? You got to make money. Revenue generation, it's the foundation of your whole idea. So everything that you do to try to quit your job has to be focused on how to generate the most dollars possible as soon as possible in the most scalable fashion possible. Because what you have here is a business, and there's a reason that guy didn't get to 20 employees and then take the money and just buy a bunch of rental properties with it. Hell, I wouldn't own rental properties if I wasn't so tax advantaged, if my model wasn't so lean, I had so few employees and such little overhead, right? That's how I hide my income from the IRS, is rental properties. He didn't take his money and invest it on the side. He took it and reinvested it in his business so he can generate more sales. Now he's fucking sailed off into the sunset, right? And I want to get that concept in your head. Don't stop too soon. If you're trying to get out of your job, then you want to pour all of your resources into making more active income until you have a lot of it. That's it. That's number 6. So I'll tell you all 6 one more time. Number 1 is you want to generate pull. You don't want to push your product. You want the customer to pull the product through your supply chain. Number 2, you want to anti-sell. Don't try too hard, guys. If you have to try too hard, you got the wrong business, you got the wrong customer in front of you, you got the wrong product. Number 3, better process means better people. Your people will be more successful if you've designed the business and its processes more effectively. Number 4, better product. Same thing, it'll sell itself. It's just going to make money if you've designed something that your customers really want. Number 5, time is your most valuable resource. It's not money, right? It's not that little bit of opportunity you left on the table. And number 6 is you need revenue, guys. You need revenue. You don't need investments. You don't need assets, not until you're rich. You need income, a lot of it. And then just don't spend it on stupid shit. So that's all. Let's hit some Q&A stuff. I've seen a whole bunch of comments come through, and sorry I didn't read a single comment today because I was just trying to stick to this session. I've been a little off my game today. I felt like I was a little off my game today because I think I skipped that live session last week and I lost my touch a little bit. So give me one more week, and I've been out of like content creation mode. I've just been making some technical real estate videos and then hopping on over to like taxis and stuff and making this next course. So I've been in like technical mode lately. It's kind of funny. I announced to you guys earlier this week in a story that I was going to be pulling away from like the influencer role on this profile and just make real estate content, not influencer content, right? And I made some videos of a computer screen basically talking about these cool deals that we've done. And ironically, those videos got way more views, or as many views as some of like the, virally clickbaity things that take a lot more effort for me to like shoot and make. So yeah, I'm definitely sticking to the plan. I'm just going to talk to you guys about real estate stuff. Oh, and by the way, the course sales and the digital product sales this week are like way up. They were already up pretty high, but they're up even higher. I don't know if something on my ad side kicked in or something, but yeah, maybe it's because I'm talking to you guys about valuable real estate information and you want to go and learn it through the resources that we provide, because you see what these awesome deals look like. So, advice for real estate brokers. Man, I mean, there's so many pieces of advice I can give you. The advice for real estate brokers that I end up giving to real estate brokers a lot is you guys need to spend more money on advertising and you guys need to hire. So many of you guys that make good money, like successful brokers that make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, and they see that as like their job, and they won't go and reinvest it in like a better ad budget. They won't go get like a CRM and generate a follow-up strategy and hire an inside sales rep. They won't hand their shit off to an admin or a TC, and they end up doing the whole thing. And what happens is they're really good, which is what got them to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, but they're stuck at that number because it's just them. So they limit themselves to like taking this like full spectrum job, and they don't hand anything off to anyone. And look, before you delegate, you automate. And the best way to automate is to spend some ad dollars and to get good at that. But you have to learn to get outside of your zone and not just keep door knocking, showing up to open houses, playing your referral network, whatever it is that got you to that kind of money in the first place. You got to break through that and do something completely different and like almost reorganize your brain as a business owner. That's what you are. You're not a realtor. You are a business owner. Be better. If this whole ACE thing fell apart one day, I'd go be a broker, probably a commercial broker, honestly, just because of like my experience, my personality, and I'd crush it. It would be 7 figures first year, easily. Do I recommend investing in California or in other states? I don't invest in California at all. I live in California. I refuse to invest here. I don't like the laws. I'm in the residential space, so I particularly don't like the laws. It's expensive. Not that expensive means you can't make money. Every portfolio has a place for like blue chip appreciating assets, but it is kind of a rich man's game because low cash flow means banks want you to put much more money down, and your portfolio is not going to generate a lot of income. So to qualify for loans, you have to generate a lot of income. So that's why I'm not a giant fan of California property, but it's really the laws. Like for me, for you guys, it might be like resource limitations too. Insurance setup, I don't have a crazy insurance setup. I mean, so someone asked me to explain my insurance setup. Liability on my rental properties. Let's see, umbrella, personally for me, right? So my personal assets are protected against like additional liability. So liability on rental properties, umbrella, obviously hazard insurance on my rental properties, E&O, so errors and omissions for the business, D&O, directors and officers coverage for the business. So that's my insurance setup. Where do you see the best areas to invest in multifamily homes are right now? Look, it's wherever you execute well. I like cash flowing properties. I explained why just a minute ago with the California investment question. And I like cash flowing properties in the Midwest and South. That's where you find a whole lot of them. I've been able to find micro markets that are outperforming like broader, like soft trends out there, which has allowed me like a successful contrarian play. And that's why I enjoy those markets. But really your investment, your asset selection it's important. Market selection is important, but you want to go like within the type, you have to decide what kind of product it is that you want to invest in. Am I making the appreciation play? What's your execution plan too? Are you value adding and selling? Are you just holding? Are you holding, refinancing, getting the money back to yourself or your investors? You have to decide what kind of executional model you're going to have, right? Or operational model you're going to have. And then you have to select the market that best fits that operational model and the product that best fits that operational model. And then you just have to get really good at executing there. So you want to look for markets where you can identify an opportunity that matches with your operational model that other investors with your operational model have not yet identified. Think Blue Ocean. If you haven't read Blue Ocean, go read Blue Ocean. I'm not even a book guy, but you need to go read it. Have any of my investor deals gone sour? Well, I've never co-purchased with investors, first of all. Second of all, the due diligence is really heavy on the front end. The only deals that customers have had a bad experience with, like truly a bad experience, were years ago, early in the business, and we've really pulled away from this kind of deal. It's the super discounted home run, but needs a lot of stabilization and effort and management execution for it to work out well. And I used to have customers come to me going, give me the cheap deals, give me the cheap deals. And I used to go out and get them what they wanted. And I've learned that that's a recipe for disaster with certain customers because they don't realize that it takes a lot of work, time, and money poured back into the property before you actually see it start to produce money. They don't have the temperament for that. So instead of making sure I find a customer that has that kind of attitude, I'll take these deals down myself, fully stabilize them and sell them. And fortunately, fingers crossed, we haven't had a client come back to us and go, hey, I'm having a horrible experience. Since a few of those deals. I remember I sold an 8-plex for $210. That customer came back after a year and sold it to me for like $235. They made $25,000. I stabilized it, I sold it, I think I made like $100 afterwards, right? They just weren't equipped to handle that kind of property. So what I've learned to give you guys a better experience so that investors are less likely to have a sour deal when they buy from us is to identify a product and a situation, like a set of characteristics that's highly predictable, and to sell that product. What book was I recommending to read? Blue Ocean Strategy. How fast do I refi? It depends on like whether I want the cash back or not. I bought a 11 unit all cash recently. It was $430 was the wire amount. I'm refining the 7 unit portion of it, not the 4, because better financing product on the 7 unit than on the 4-plex. I bought a 8-plex for $350 home run deal, $350 cash like 3 months ago. I'm refinancing sometime this month. I like to have a certain amount of money in my bank account, like actual cash. And I'll look at upcoming deals that we plan to purchase for ourselves and spend that money on, like future expenses as well. And I'll look at my account and I'll go, okay, do we have like big money coming in? And I just try to forecast ahead so we always have a certain dollar amount. I like to have a big dollar amount in my account. But I guess that doesn't matter if the amount is big or small because it'll fluctuate at whatever rate it fluctuates, and that's when you decide whether you want to refi or not. So yeah, I usually refi 5 and above only. My 1 to 4s, I just buy cash and I keep them all cash, and maybe I'll sell them after a year or something like that. I'll refi 5 and above, and I don't do it in a hurry necessarily, but I like to see a certain amount of bucks in my bank. Recently I had lunch with someone who's done it all in real estate. Tips to build a relationship to a point of mentorship. Yes, if you want to build a relationship with someone successful in real estate that you come into contact with to the point of mentorship, one, don't try to get mentorship out of them. Just go and do. Just go do some stuff. And maybe share along the way a little bit. And if they take an interest, they take an interest. Don't try to sell the concept of being someone's mentee to anybody. And if you want, I get a lot of people asking me for mentorship every day. Every day. People that ask to work for me for free, to work for me for pay, to pay me for a call, just to be there, for me to be their mentor at no cost, whatever it might be. I get a lot of questions every day. Hey, Elliot, I got this question about this property or whatever it is. The only people I'd ever even respond to are the ones that have shown tremendous initiative in solving their own problems themselves before even reaching out to me. And other than that, I mean, you got to realize that to a person like that, you're one of many, and you got to demonstrate that you have something a little bit special that makes them, if they're feeling generous, makes them feel as if you would actually take their mentorship and turn it into something good. Because I know a lot of people that ask me a lot of questions and they don't fucking use the information. That's a giant waste of my time. Especially when my consulting fee would be like thousands of dollars an hour. If I choose to give my time to someone and they don't go and take it and turn it into something, then that's like the ultimate disrespect. So I avoid that possibility with extreme discrimination. And that's all, y'all. It's 9:33. I got to get out of here. Thanks for the Q&A session. There were some good questions, different questions than usual this week. I'm going to post this live in just a moment. I'm going to get a giveaway in just a moment. Then it's going to be up on YouTube too. So, hey, do me a favor. If you're watching this from Instagram, go subscribe to the YouTube page, guys. I mean, the amount of like free game, these sessions, no one else gives them. The free game is unparalleled. And all I'm asking for in return, I'm not making you buy my digital products. You buy them because you want them, right? All I'm asking for is return is help my algo on YouTube because I'm pushing a good amount of this type of content to there. It's a better platform for the technical stuff than Instagram, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, jump on there, show me some love. If you're on YouTube watching this, hit the sub button right now. I'll see you guys next Friday.